Hello, my name is Georgia Ford with the Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation, and I'm here with one of our known attorney mediators today, Mike Routh. Mike, you're going to talk about the difficulties with couples going through a divorce and the housing market and how it's affecting them, correct?
Right. Hi, Georgianne. Thanks for having me today.
Sure.
Yeah, this subject came up just recently. We were in a meeting and a friend of ours that's a realtor brought this up over, talking about the housing market and how it's different than anything that she's seen in the last 30 years. She has these people that are divorcing and trying to sell their properties. Well, they're having no issues getting a good price for the properties, but they have nowhere to go once they sell the property. And she just really seemed kind of baffled by this whole thing. Something that hasn't occurred in her experience. And like I said, she's been doing it for a long time. And then you look at the internet and you see these inflationary numbers that are coming out. So as we know, as consumers, prices are going up, right?
Right.
You put gas in your car, prices are going up. So it affects us all. And one of the areas that we're focusing on in our conversation today is the housing market. And like I was mentioning, it's really putting these couples that are trying to get divorced in a bind on what they do for the future.
What they do for the future in reference to housing and living arrangements.
Right. One of the toughest things that you have to address when you get divorced is basically you're starting two households from one, right? So when you were together as a couple, all your income went together and you paid bills together, and there was only one mortgage, and that's where the money went. But when you get divorced and you have kids, now you need two households. So now you're splitting incomes and you're doubling the cost of that. And what people are finding is, yes, they can get this great price and they get excited. People are bidding on our house. They're driving the price up more than what we saw in Zillow, more than more than what we thought we could get. But at the end of the day, when they start looking for a comparable property to buy or even rent, they can't find it. They have nowhere to go.
I
And so
heard
they're stuck.
rental properties are hard.
Right. That's the other thing. The cost of rentals has really gone up. And, in some parts of the country, like 30 to 40% over the past year. And it's just, obviously supply and demand, there's just not a whole lot of inventory. So the prices are going up, and these landlords are able to get that because a lot of the people that are renting these days are people that have not had to in the past. And they're people that have a lot of money because they just sold their property for a great price. So once again, the landlords are able to pop the rent up a little bit, and the people are able to afford it.
So
But
what's
that
happening?
squeezes out other people.
So
Sorry,
what's
Georgia.
That's all right. So what's happening with these couples that are finding like, okay, we can sell our house, but where are we going? Or where's one going? What are they doing?
Right. So you find the situation where a lot of them are staying together, which isn't necessarily good. A lot of people stayed together during the pandemic because they felt like they were forced to. And that definitely puts a strain on the relationship, puts a strain on the children, just puts a strain on the family. So they just find like they're in a situation where they're stuck. So what we recommend, if we do have a recommendation for it, because I'm not exactly sure what the answer is in regards to the housing market, but with our mediation program, we really emphasize this working together as a couple to come to an agreement. So when we get through this, we're each standing on equal footing, or at least footing where we can move forward with our individual lives. And this is even more important when it comes to couples that have children as well, because you definitely don't want the situation where there's one person doing very well and then the other person isn't. And, the kids are going back and forth, and that's where resentments build and that adversity builds. And, it's just not healthy.
So even though things are a little bit better since the pandemic, but we're still in it, you are still seeing couples needing to stay and live together in the same household until they figure out how to have two households.
Right. I just, some clients recently were talking about that. Basically they found out that through the pandemic, that the whole working from home and having their kids run around was kind of just too much for them.
Mm.
And they're in a situation where they can only afford one mortgage, and the one of the spouses wants to move out immediately. And it just kind of like you have to say, oh, okay, hold on, we got to hit the brakes a little bit and try to work through this on how we're going to be able to afford it going forward. We're really trying to not penalize either party with our mediation program. We're not trying to take advantage of one person or another. We're just trying to make it fair for both parties. And that's important. And, I'll throw this in too. Once you start that litigation process, the dollar signs start flowing out of your pocket as well. So, once again, with our mediation program, what the fee is when you sign up, and it's a flat fee, and that's what you're going to pay. And it's definitely going to be a lot less than what your litigation attorney is going to charge you.
And what I hear too, Mike, is you're going to get some you're going to get guidance like, hey, we're in this situation, and you both need to work together. And let's talk about how you're going to do that. And you don't get that when you're outside of mediation.
Right. Like I tell people all the time, we're not here to penalize, right? If you want to include child support, you want to include alimony, that's fine. But we also want to assure that the person responsible for paying it has the ability to live too. It's not a penalty. It's support for the other person. And let's make sure that we're both going to be able to survive this.
Wow. That's wonderful to hear. You're so right. It's not a penalty. Great message. Great message. And also to have us really an eye opener about, did we know how much this housing market is affecting people that are separated or trying to get divorced?
Right. And it was, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, it was interesting because, a lot of us view like these housing prices going up is a good thing for homeowners, right? But not necessarily if you don't have any place to go with that money, right? Once you sell it, if you have no place to go, then what does it really do, right?
Right. So. Well, let's hope things balance out and these couples find their way through the mediation process to work together, especially if there's children involved. Any of you want to call Mike, call the Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation, have questions, concerns, 1-800-310-9085.